usual, guys, welcome to my channel. If you are preparing for your FE exam, you don't want to miss this. Because in this video, I am with Maritza. Maritza is recently studying for her FE exam. And so in this video, I'm going to share with her some tips on how to tackle the exam. Now, you can use the same method and ask yourself the same exact questions to figure out how to study for your FE exam. Now, we're going to answer all of your FE questions from preparation, scheduling, what to do the day before the exam, what to do during the exam, what material to use, and what to focus on for your tests. Now, stay tuned for all of that. Maritza, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited for this interview.
It's great. Yeah, it's when I messaged you last week and we talked about it, I got super pumped doing this because I'm always talking to students over the phone and sharing those tips. But I was like, I can share these tips and help so many students than just, sharing them with one student.
Exactly.
And so, yeah. Now, before we dive in, let's start with you telling us a little bit about yourself. When did you graduate? What was your major? And what kind of student were you in college?
Yeah. Okay, so I graduated back in winter 2016 and I majored in civil engineering. The student that I was very involved. I love studying for engineering, but aside from that, I was always studying and I really got involved in different student organizations. So I was like heavily involved in the Society of Women Engineers, the American Society of Civil Engineers. I always did projects, did community service with them. And I also worked part-time. So I was very busy throughout college. And sometimes it did show in my grades. I don't think I put too much effort into being an A student because I definitely was not an A student. But I really enjoyed my years in college because I really got to be involved and meet people and, do the whole college thing.
Yeah. So you were involved in a lot of activities and that has a lot of advantage to it because you network with a lot of future engineers.
Yeah.
You talk to people about engineering than just being stuck and just kind of focusing on the grades.
Exactly.
Yeah. I really like that. So why did you want to take the FE and is it a requirement by your job?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I want to take the FE because in order to get promoted at my current job, I have to have that FE, the EIT license. So that's why I'm pursuing it. And, it's been almost 3 years that I've been out of school. And now I'm really taking it seriously because I do want to get promoted. And obviously I do want to pursue my PE license as well.
I see. Now, if we go back to when you just graduated, would you have rather taken it by then than waiting? Or
yeah, most definitely. I highly recommend everyone to not do the same mistake that I did because honestly, once you start working full time, you're so busy working throughout the entire day that after work, you feel so tired and you don't want to study for 2 to 3 hours Monday through Friday. So that kind of leaves only the weekends open. But I highly recommend everyone to take their EIT right during school, senior year, or also just right after you graduate.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. During senior year, especially the last semester, a lot of students, they're not full-time students because they took already all the units. You probably have 1 or 2 classes. So if you do have time, take the advantage of that and study for your exam. Now, sometimes though, because when I was in college, my professors recommended that I take the FE during school, but I didn't like that so much because I was taking steel and foundation in my last semester, and those are a huge portion of the exam.
Yeah.
And I wanted to first learn from my professors, take advantage of the classes and then dive into the FE exam because I didn't want to be distracted. But definitely take it sooner. At least as soon as you graduate, dive into the material because it's so fresh too.
Yes.
Because no matter how much you're gonna study using the references out there are gonna be stuff that is not on those references and you're gonna miss those questions. But I found on my test, because I took it really soon, a lot of the questions I was able to answer just by remembering from my college.
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend that you guys take it sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now let's jumping into scheduling. How many months have you been studying for the FE exam?
So far, I would say about maybe a month. I've been studying for a month, but this only includes weekends. So I usually study Saturday, maybe Sunday afternoon. If you calculate the hours that I put into the last month, it's probably, a couple days that I've been fully studying.
Now, why is that? Do you not have enough time to study for the test? Are you lacking motivation, or?
I think I am lacking motivation.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just, like I said, like working full time, you're already drained throughout the day because of work. And then, exercising is very important, at least to me. I go to my gym class after work. By the time I get home, it's like 8:30, and it's like time to take a shower, eat late supper, eat late dinner, and then go to sleep. It's already 10. So
I think there are some. So I interviewed a couple students last week, and I mean, no matter how much motivated you are to study for this test, you are gonna have some of those days where you just don't feel like studying.
exactly.
And especially when you could look at some books, like the reference manual, that huge book, is just like you look at it and you're just like, oh my god,
It's just overwhelming.
Right? Yeah, it's just heavy. And so in that situation, like I definitely recommend like finding conditions that will help you stay motivated. Like maybe find a place where, because for me, when I lack motivation to work or even study, sometimes I go to a cafe and that helps me. Like I go to a cafe and just kind of just start studying just a little bit, not dive into it. And after like an hour, I go, oh, okay, now I have the motivation. I really want to go home and then finish this.
Yes.
So, or maybe like if you like to study after the gym, sometimes that helps me as well. Like I don't feel like studying some days, and then I would hit the gym, and then after that I go, I'm actually ready now to study. So find that thing that will help you or motivate you to study for the test, right?
Yeah.
So
that's very important to
Yeah.
to keep yourself motivated.
Yeah, or even sometimes, spending time with family, friends, that can also help, right?
Yeah.
Or like reward yourself. Like don't burn out. Don't study so many days, and then at the end you're gonna feel so burned out. And burnout leads to lack of motivation, sadness, and so you don't want to be in that situation. And so make sure you incorporate exercising, spending time with family, and then come back and hit the books again.
Yeah.
So yeah. So maybe you can incorporate these tips to help you like stay motivated. Is your work like very demanding? Are you really busy at work?
Yeah, I'm at work about like 9 hours out of the day. Actually 10 hours, because you take an hour break for lunch. So you're at work for 10 hours and you're doing work, so you're always busy. There's not really like a downtime.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so in that case, what I would recommend, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you who are watching right now are working full-time, working so many hours every day, because that's just, most of the engineering jobs are demanding, and you just have to put in those hours. So what I would recommend in that situation, and like, or for example, for you, Maritza, when you hit the gym afterwards and you're having dinner, maybe just review the concepts, so that way you stay consistent, because the more you see those material every day, the better for your brain. Even though you're not solving problems, just by looking at them, it gives enough time for your brain to process all that information, right?
That's a great tip.
Yeah. So staying consistent, looking at the notes just for like an hour or 2 hours, or even during lunchtime, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe like you go to work and 30 minutes before you start work, just briefly look at those concepts or an example or anything, and then during the weekend, then you can dive in like you did.
Exactly.
Right? And then, but again, don't forget to spend time with family, taking breaks, because just doing work and studying for the exam, that can really like burn you out.
That'd burn you out real fast.
Yeah, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So maybe you guys can incorporate these tips into your schedule. Now, what material are you currently using?
So as of right now, I do have
the Linder book.
The Linder book,
okay.
Yeah.
The review manual.
The review manual,
one.
yeah. So I have the review manual. It's a massive book. I think that one just dives into a lot of like complex problems that are not necessarily in the FE. But I do also have like other different study material. I actually have the practice exam that the NCS published.
Okay.
So I purchased that book, so I'm reviewing off of that.
Okay.
And some other material that some friends gave me that is pretty helpful.
I see. Okay, cool. So a couple of material that I would recommend, because I would consider you like a fresh graduate, although you did graduate 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But there's some students who are out there and they have been out of school for like 10 to 15 years,
Oh, okay,
you know, and they're trying to study for the FE exam. So maybe diving into these materials might not be enough, but I'm going to start with the material that I usually recommend to the students who recently graduated or you are still in college trying to study for the FE exam. For the reference manual or the review manual by Linder book, I would recommend that you guys use that just to reference. So let's say you're solving some problems, either you found them online or on YouTube or the FE practice problems, go back to that book just if you get stuck, just to review the concepts.
Okay. Yeah.
And then dive in, because it's important that you understand the concept. But if you just start studying the concept, you're gonna get bored because you don't know how it's being applied.
Yes.
You're gonna fall asleep because a lot of engineers, we don't like to read, especially theory and conceptual stuff, right?
Yeah.
So if you start solving the problems and then you feel like, oh, I'm stuck in this here, I don't know how they did this, I'm not sure what is this step, go back to that book and just reference back to it. Another books I do recommend is the NCS practice exam. Definitely, that one is a great book. It has great problems, and use it as a practice exam. Like I talked about this in one of my previous videos, where it's like it's important that you guys take practice exams, a lot of them, and just mimic that environment. Sit for 5 hours or split it into two. Like do the morning and come back the afternoon and do the rest. But definitely recommend that you sit, no distractions, no phone, and just do the exam. No food, because that's how the FE exam is, right? I mean, by the end of the FE exam, you're gonna feel so tired. I remember I was so tired. I was hungry. I was like, damn, I'm hungry. I want to be out of this exam. And so it's really important that you guys practice that environment. It's really going to help. So use the NCS practice exam for that. Another book I have that some of my students recommended is the Linder book, Practice Problem. Now, a lot of students don't know this, but there's this small practice problem book by Linder book, and it has only problems. It doesn't have any conceptuals or anything. And every section, it has about 15 or 20 problems, if not more. And you can just start solving those and time yourself. It's important to keep track of time, how much it's taking you to do a problem, and work on that as well. Another book is recommended is the FE practice exam 2 full tests by Islam. So this one has just 2 practice exams, full solutions, amazing. I haven't really checked it out, but a student of mine, I interviewed him last week. I did post his video already on my channel, and he talks about his FE experience, and he definitely recommended that book. He said he took it as a practice exam, and it really helped him.
Wow.
And it has great problems. So
where can we find these books? Are they being sold on Amazon or like any specific website you can find them?
That's a great question. So yes, you can find them on Amazon, and I will leave the link to all those books in the description below so you guys can check it out.
Okay,
for sure.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah. And then another thing, there is the YouTube, videos, right? So YouTube has amazing resources.
That's true. I have searched some up. Those are very helpful, actually.
They are.
Because some YouTube videos are being produced by students that took the FE.
Yes.
And then some videos are being produced by professors that somehow they have the information, like what's going to be on the FE exam. So those are very helpful, and they're free. You don't have to purchase anything, which is great.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely watch those videos because they do kind of guide you to it. Yeah. And they guide you to the solution. They mention a lot of concepts. And also, if you're lacking motivation, I found that sometimes watching those videos can help you
get motivated.
Right? Yeah.
To keep studying. That's huge.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I remember I used a lot of Michelson Greg, he's a professor, and he has videos on YouTube. That's what I use for my exam, and he has amazing videos. So I definitely recommend to check that out as well. And of course, don't forget you guys in my videos as well.
Of course.
Okay, and then the last thing is the mock exam. Now I know I shared this with you.
Yes.
You did using it and you did find it helpful?
Extremely helpful.
Yeah.
So the mock exam that she has is very helpful.
One of my students who I interviewed last week, he said the exact same thing. I shared with him like a whole package, and he loved the mock exam. He passed his FE.
Nice.
And he said the same thing. Those problems really were very similar to the exam, and so it helped. So if you guys want that package or the mock exam, make sure to sign up on my website and I'll send it to your email. So yeah. Okay. Now I know I talked about this a little bit, but I'm not sure like if you answered it, but is there a particular place that you like to study, like a cafe or library?
Honestly, I tried going to the library. I try to go to the cafes and stuff just to get myself motivated. But honestly, sometimes the problems that I run into is that I don't have internet access, or the internet's too slow. There's too many people in the cafe, the internet's slow. I go to the library and there's like tons of people. I can't find like a nice chair, comfortable space. So honestly, I enjoy studying at home. I live by myself. I don't really have distractions. So I light up a candle that has like lavender for relaxation. I put meditation music, and then I just start studying just, on my dining table. That's what I do. I do have like my desk and like this office area, but I honestly really don't use that area. I always use the dining table for some reason. It's just brighter. My living room and kitchen space is a lot brighter than my office area. So maybe that's why. Yeah, I should probably rearrange some stuff. But yeah, I love studying at home,
Yeah.
I can just be in my PJs, I have water, I have food, I have everything I need. So I study at home.
Yeah, that's true. I most of the times I do work at home and study at home. So if you are comfortable with that and it helps you and it keeps you motivated, I definitely recommend doing that. Yeah, for sure. I do have a question here before we dive into your study habits. I do want to ask, are there any sections on the FE exam that was not covered by any of your school classes?
Okay, so I went to California State University, Long Beach, and there they have a great civil engineering program. So honestly, all the subjects that I've reviewed for the FE, I took all those classes. So our degree is great. If you guys go to Long Beach State, congratulations. It's a great program there. I think the only thing that it's very small in the FE exam, and I think our professors touched that subject on our senior design class. It is construction, the section of construction.
Okay.
So that's like the only class that I'm kind of scared of. But after reviewing some of those questions, it seems like pretty simple. And I do remember some of the things that the professors talked about, so I'm not really too worried. But all the subjects on the FE in my degree, I took every class.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, for construction management, it is on the FE, but like you said, it's a small section. Now let's dive into your study techniques. Are there any study habits that you found to be effective?
So I study with the reference handbook, and I'm always referencing the reference handbook. And what I try to do is I try to solve the problem first, and then I try to solve it, use the reference handbook, and then I try to get the answer. If I got the answer wrong, I go back to the solution. I look exactly where I went wrong, and that's just the technique that I use. I'd always use that technique throughout studying for my undergrad, and I use it now. So.
Okay, I think that's really great. Studying with your reference, like handbook or reference manual open next to you, it's really important because you know where the equations are. You are faster during the tests to look them up. Yeah, I really like that.
And I use the PDF file too, and back in the day, because I did take the exam while I was in school, but I never really studied. I just took it just to see what was on it.
Okay.
And I remember when I was studying during that time, I actually printed out the FE reference book, and I had it in hand, and I was using it. But then I realized once I took the exam that the reference handbook is on the computer. And it's very different when you're trying to search things up on the computer versus a physical actual book. So because of that, I like to use a reference book, PDF file. The PDF file, that's the best way.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up because a lot of the times when you use the hard copy is different than what you have on the FE exam because you have it on screen, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it makes a huge difference, honestly, because I did have a paper reference book, and then versus the one online, or not online, but PDF file, it's so much easier. And then, when you take the test, you're going to have that same. So you want to always, model your environment based off how the exam's going to be. So
I really like that, yes. And also, I actually do have a couple videos. One where I show how the search box exactly looks like on the FE exam, so you can get used to that. Because on the test, you can't do Control F, and you're not gonna have that drop of the search. You're gonna have the whole search bar, and when you type in, you're gonna have so many kind of pages shows up, and then you have to click on the right one. So, anyways, you guys need to check that video if you haven't watched it yet. And another one where I talk about the format. And so I want to discuss a little bit about that because not all the questions on the exam are going to be multiple choice. You're going to have some filling in the blanks.
Oh, that's right.
You're going to have sometimes you're going to might have to drag like 5 answers out of 20. Sometimes you have to click on the graph to select like where the maximum shear is or the maximum stress. So don't expect all multiple choice, and I have a video on this and you guys can check that whole format. So make sure you get used to how the screen is going to look like and how your FE exam is going to look like to just kind of prepare for it mentally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's pretty helpful.
Yeah. Now, are you planning on taking any practice exams before your test?
So yes, I do have some material that my friend gave me, so I am going to do that practice exam, and then also you emailed me that mock exam, and I'm going to use that mock exam as practice. So I'm definitely going to do that a couple days before the exam.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, so now is there anything specific that you do that helps you stay motivated while studying for the FE exam? Now, you did mention a couple things earlier, like the meditation music, and would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, well, I do turn on a candle as well, so it's usually like lavender or some type of scent that I really like. That really helps me. And then also, before I sit down and study, because usually it's like hours. I study for like maybe 2 to 4 hours on the weekends. So before I dive into my studying, I actually like to do high intensity cardio before that. So I'll hit up the gym in the morning, and then once I do that, I go and I study, because I think it's very important to exercise and get that flowing through your body, especially from like a whole week of work, sitting in your desk, sitting in a chair all day. I'm going to go sit again to go study. So exercising, I think, has helped me a lot, and it's very important. I think just exercising is very helpful, and also eating healthy, eating like a lighter, lots of fruits and vegetable, because when I'm going to be sitting down for 2 to 3 hours studying, I don't want to have like a full stomach, because then I get sleepy if I eat a lot of carbs. I'm like, I want to take a nap now. But if I eat a salad, or if I eat like high proteins and fruits and vegetables, I have energy. I have energy to stay up and like study. And it also, like your B12, it helps you study if you take B12. So that's found in a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I think so, right? B12? Oh, I don't know, maybe.
Do you take supplements for it, or just in the...
I actually do take vitamins.
Okay.
I do take daily vitamins. So honestly, I've seen a huge difference when I take a vitamin and when I don't take a vitamin.
Really?
So I actually highly recommend it.
Okay.
Anyone.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into this.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for like more energy. And, because sometimes we just like tired.
And I actually don't drink coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker.
Okay.
And it's just because if I do drink coffee, I just get all jittery, and then my heart rate goes up, and then I feel like I'm gonna faint. But other than that, just eating healthy and exercising gives me energy. So
those are really great tips, and I definitely recommend that you guys do incorporate exercising, eating healthy, some nice music in the background, phone away. These are all tips that are going to help you stay focused and studying.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another thing I actually do, because one thing you did mention how you've been sitting all week, and now you don't feel like sitting again. to, study more. And I actually recommend for that a standing desk. Now,
Oh, a standing desk.
so I have
That's
one, and what I do is that, in the morning, sometimes I would stand, because sometimes the hardest part is just the start. It's so hard to start at the beginning, right?
Yes.
So I usually have my standing desk up, and I start with that, and then right before lunch, I usually, like 2 hours before lunch, I sit down, and then right after lunch, because again, you eat lunch, you're a little bit tired, you're losing that energy, I stand again. So I definitely recommend standing desk. If you guys are interested in the one I have, I will leave the link in the description below in case you guys want to check it out. But it does help a lot. Yeah.
I never even thought about that. I have a normal desk.
Yeah.
I just sit in the chair.
Yeah.
That's a great tip though.
Yeah. So now let's talk a little bit about the day before your exam. Do you have any plans for that? Are you planning to study, review notes, or just kind of take a break? Maybe exercise?
Yeah. So as of right now, my plan is to study a day before the exam. Maybe in the morning, I'll study a little bit. And then after that, I'll go to the gym, exercise, maybe meditate. Maybe a few hours before I go to bed, maybe I'll hit up those problems that I'm not too sure how to solve. But a day before the exam, I just don't want to really overwhelm myself, because I learned this from engineering school. You never want to overwhelm yourself, a day before finals or anything like that, because then you're not going to be really thinking right when you're actually taking the exam. So I usually like to study a lot before the exam, but a day before, I just like to chill and just review maybe 1 or 2 hours max. I'm not going to pull an all-night or anything like that. It's not my style.
Yeah, I really love that. Cramming last minute, especially that you're going in for a test for 6 hours, just sitting straight up solving problems.
Yeah.
Maybe problems you've never seen before. I mean, some of them, some of them you probably have seen before, but it's just draining, and you need that full energy. You need your brain to be well rested.
Exactly.
And definitely not learning any information. But what I really like about your plan is reviewing a little bit, just the ones you struggle with.
Exactly.
Now, do you keep them in a certain file, or do you have a cheat sheet?
I just highlight them. So I have the mock exam, and some of the mock exam problems that I just didn't really feel comfortable solving, I'll just highlight them. And then, go back and try to review those.
Yeah, great. Okay, now the day of your exam, do you have a plan for time management?
So based off what I know, usually you have to give yourself 3 minutes per question based off the time and the number of questions that they're going to ask you. What I've read online is that the first portion is a lot easier than the second portion. So I was thinking of doing possibly 2.5 hours on the first part and then leave 3 hours for the second part, because you do get a 25-minute break in between, right? So that's my strategy, that's my plan. So hopefully within 2.5 hours, I could go through 54 problems, and then 3 hours, I'll have the rest.
Yeah, that is actually a really good plan, and that's what I did for my test. The morning, I tried to hit it by 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2 hours, 20 minutes maximum.
Yeah.
And then in the afternoon, I had that whole 3 hours, because in the afternoon, you have longer questions, more in depth. The morning, the questions, you have math, you have engineering, econ, those usually are quick, right?
Yeah, they're faster.
Yeah, but however, I would recommend that, if you do go over that 2 hour and 30 minutes or 2 hour and 15 minutes, don't stress too much about it, because again, if your strength is in the morning, then, and you know that what you're doing, you're hitting all the questions and you're doing really well, then it's okay to go a little bit over the time you planned on.
Yeah.
And don't let that stress you out if that happens. Also, because now there are a lot more conceptual questions than it used to be in the FE exam. And by interviewing a lot of my students, a lot of them has said they spend 3 hours in the morning and they spend only 2 hours in the afternoon, or 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it worked great.
Oh, okay.
And that's because of all the conceptual questions, with the conceptual questions, either you know the question or you don't.
And you can't go back to the reference manual because you won't find the answer there.
Yeah, exactly. So now you have a little bit more time and you gain time from those conceptual questions, if that makes sense. So just kind of like see how the tests go. Don't focus too much on the time. Keep it in mind, of course, but having that strategy in mind in place, I think that is amazing. But if it doesn't work out exactly, you know, like be okay with it, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, cool. Now, so do you have a guessing strategy? So let's say you get a question, you have no idea what it is about. Do you have a guessing strategy for that?
No, I usually just press C, right? C is always the right answer. Just kidding. No, I mean, sometimes if I have absolutely no clue how to solve something, I look at the answers and usually there's about 3 answers that are pretty similar, right? And then there's one answer that's completely off. Based off my experience, I just press the answer that's completely off because sometimes they just try to trick you. So I don't know. That's my strategy. I might be wrong though. I don't know. That's what I do.
Yeah, for the guessing strategy, it's a little bit hard because everybody has a different one, and then might work for you, might not work for the other person because the way you see it might be different than the other person.
Exactly.
Some students use the letter like a letter, certain letter, and they just stick to it, and whenever they don't know, they just guess that letter. Or sometimes but not all the time you can do the process of elimination. But if you can do that, of course you can do that as well, and that can help as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, cool. Now, I want to walk you through the topics to focus on. So earlier we did talk about the materials, and I did forget to mention about my courses. Also, if you are if you've been out of school for a while and you are struggling with the material, and it's just the books are not enough or the YouTube videos are not enough, which makes sense because you've been out of school for a while and you haven't seen that material. Maybe consider in getting courses, and you have to watch out because not all the courses out there are great. So do a little bit of research before you dive into that. I do have a course in statics, as I mentioned earlier. I do cover everything that you need for the FE exam, but and a lot of people bought it, a lot of people loving it. But I know a lot of you probably don't need help with statics, and I totally get that. But that's why I decided to start to work on FE Bytes. So FE Bytes will consist of all the FE civil problems, and I'm just gonna always constantly be uploading more and more problems that are similar to the FE exam, so that way to prepare you guys for the test. So I'm really looking forward to that, and then I'll share it with you guys when it's ready to go.
That's so exciting. Yeah. You're going to start your online services. So, for a student like me, will be able to purchase your study guide online, and that's going to cover everything that's on the FE. That's what you're preparing for.
Yes. So the FE Bytes, but it's going to be a little bit different than statics, because statics, we dive into the concept. It's literally like taking a class of statics.
Okay.
We go over every single topic that is on the specification. We do about 100 problems in the whole course.
Wow. Okay.
And at the end, there is a practice exam. So there's a practice exam, 17 problems. I tell you exactly how much it should take you. Time yourself. There's a lot of products, centroid, moment of inertia, all that. And it's very similar to the FE exam questions. Now, the FE Bytes, I'm just gonna cover just questions. We just do one problem after the other one.
Okay.
And it's just gonna be like a review for you, like a quick practice before your test. Okay. And they're gonna cover really, really cool, important questions, which I'm really excited to share with you guys. I am still gonna work on the rest of the courses. After this, I'm gonna launch the course for just fluid mechanics, because if you go over FE Bytes and you go, I'm still not understanding hydrology and hydraulics, I would love to dive into that topic.
Yes.
Then you can go ahead and purchase that and dive into it. So that's how it's going to be designed.
How exciting. I can't wait to review your FE Bytes.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Just so you guys know, I've actually interviewed Maritza a couple weeks ago, and I just had the chance to edit and post this video. Also, since 2020 is around the corner, and I know a lot of you is trying to study for the FE exam, and probably one of your goals for the 2020 is to pass this test, I thought this would be a good time to share this video with you guys, and also hopefully by the end of this video, now you will have a plan on how to tackle this exam. For the FE Bytes course, I've actually already launched it a week ago, and I've only launched for the morning topics. The course is a great refresher, and it kind of gives you an idea of what to expect on your FE exam. Now, a lot of students, they already enrolled in the class and they really love the course and how it is structured. So if you are interested in the course, this is really the best time to get it. I am offering right now 25% on all my courses. So if you're interested, you can grab the coupon in the description below. Now remember, the coupon is only effective till January 1st, 2020. So make sure you use it before that date. Also, as I mentioned before, I will constantly be uploading more and more problems to make sure that you are ready for your test, and also to make sure that you are up to date with the FE exam questions. As I upload more and more problems, the value of the course will increase, and so the price of the course will increase as well. So if you are interested in the course, this is really the best time to get it. Okay, well, do you have any questions for me? How are you feeling? Do you feel like you're ready for the test? You know what to do now?
I still need to study, but yes, I feel a little bit more prepared after having this conversation. And just, I think one of the important aspects of preparing for the FE exam would be, honestly, just doing as many practice problems as possible. And like you mentioned before, actually doing a practice exam. I think that's going to really help, mock the environment, time yourself. I think those are two things that I'm really focusing on.
Yeah. And also I think, like, even if, let's say, like, not necessarily you, but like just in general, if somebody is studying for the FE exam and you don't do so well, it's okay. I mean, all that stuff that you did, it's not a waste, because you're gonna take a look at it, analyze what you did, and change. Make sure you do some changes, focus on your weaknesses, and then go again and tackle it again, and just don't give up. Right?
Yeah. Big thing is, don't give up. Just keep taking it until you pass, because getting licensed as a professional engineer, at least here in the state of California, it's huge. Like, you won't be able to get a promotion or get the job that you're looking for if you don't have your PE license.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Maritza, thank you so much for being here with us today. I
Thank
really
you so
enjoyed
much.
this conversation with you. Now, before we actually end this, I do want to say one thing. So Maritza is one of the founders of Engineering Gals. Did I say it correctly?
Yes, Engineering Gals, yes.
And so her page is awesome. Her and Amy, they do amazing work for female engineers. So if you are a female engineer and you're watching this, definitely I recommend that you guys check it out, because when I was going to school, when I was an engineer student, I wish I found their page, or I don't think you guys had that page yet, but I just wish there was something like that, because it's so inspiring and so encouraging for like female engineers out there who are trying to pursue the engineering field, and just like it's really great. I definitely just make sure you guys check it out.
Yeah. So Amy and I, we founded Engineering Gals. Engineering Gals is only on Instagram. We are working on a website, so look out for that. But Engineering Gals, it's really, we just highlight engineers, people that are doing awesome projects. I mean, we have so many engineering gals in the industry. So we also do takeovers, and during the takeovers, the engineers, they're able to highlight their projects, they're able to highlight what they do at work, and it really gives you an insight of what you might be working on in the future. For example, like if you're an engineering student and you're studying chemical engineering and you're like, why am I studying the periodic table? Like, why does this matter? You could go to Engineering Gals and you could check out the awesome engineering gals that are working for NASA or JPL or SpaceX, and they're working on these amazing projects, and they really dive into their whole journey of how they, just why they decided to become engineers, and then they describe like how their journey is being an engineer in that company. So yeah, we just love highlighting engineers, and that's what we do. So if you guys want to follow us, it's Engineering Gals on Instagram. And yeah, I look forward to it. And thank you so much for having me. I think overall this is going to be great for me because I'm studying for the FE exam, and I think it's very important to also encourage people to take the FE exam and to take the PE exam, because honestly, that's the only way where you're going to be able to, get that promotion or become the director of your division or whatever it is, there's always some type of license that you have to pursue. And as engineers, the PE license is huge in our industry. So thank you so much for doing all the work that you do and helping people pass these license exams, because honestly, we need all the help possible to pass these exams. So
thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I hope it's helping a lot of people, and well,
awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now you guys know what to focus on and how to tackle this test. Now, a lot of the tips that we shared here in this video are tips I use to study for my test, and a lot of my students use the same exact method to pass their FE exam. Now, I would recommend that you guys write a new plan for you on how you're going to tackle this exam. And this plan can include exercising, eating healthy, how you're going to study or approach problems, materials you're going to focus on, and even your weaknesses or the subjects that you struggle with the most. Sometimes it helps just being aware of it and by writing it down. Once or twice a week, go back to that plan, take a look at it, and make sure you are on the right track, because sometimes we need to be reminded of those things, and so that plan is going to make sure that you are on track, that you are exercising, eating healthy, and studying and staying consistent with your studying. And if that's not what's happening, then take a step back and try to make some changes. Make it happen. Try to find time to exercise. Try to make sure that you are studying every day. And I know maybe a lot of you are probably working full-time and working so many hours. And like we mentioned earlier, just an hour reviewing a problem or a concept can help you stay consistent with your studying, and it can help your brain retain information much faster. Also, make sure you guys don't burn out. This is really important. I try to talk about this in a lot of my videos, because burnout can lead to lack of motivation, and that can really affect your studying. Don't forget to sign up on my website for some free practice problems and some tips on how to tackle this exam. If you guys like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you soon. À la prochaine. Oh yeah, everybody now.